The first time I ever heard the term Phantasy Star was when I was flipping through a gaming magazine in 1989. I remember seeing this ad and marveling at the game's graphics shown in the screenshots. I said to myself that I was going to play this game one day, but at the time I did not have a Sega Master System. That day has finally come. I just now finished the game, and here's my thoughts about it. First of all, I'm surprised the battery backup memory still works in this cartridge that's almost 30 years old. There were 5 games saved on it, left over from when I purchased it a few years ago. In order to play, I had to erase one of them, which I didn't take lightly. These files are someone's gaming history. As far as my own experiences with the game, my feelings are mixed. Without a doubt, the game was ahead of its time. The graphics looked good enough to be on the Sega Genesis, with bright, vibrant landscapes and scrolling 3D dungeons. I'll get back to the dungeons in a little bit. The game takes place across 3 planets, all in the same solar system. This interplanetary theme would become a staple of the series. In case you don't know, there's been quite a few Phantasy Star games. Throughout the first half of the game, you're walking around, but later on you get vehicles, including spaceships, to take you to the other planets. Like many other classic RPGs, Phantasy Star has a ton of stuff to do. There's lots of cities, lots of secrets, lots of enemy variety, and lots of level grinding, for better or for worse. The one thing that it does skimp on is the storyline. There's not that much going on. There's only a handful of cutscene events, and most of the other text you read in the game is spoken by locals discussing the geography around their town. Basically, the story is about Lasik, a ruler who has turned evil. He killed Alice's brother. Alice is the female member of your 4-member party. The whole game is about you trying to get to Lasik to kill him. Monster battles are frequent, so frequent that it would sometimes drive me nuts as I get attacked 3 times while walking 1 inch on the screen. During these battles, if there's more than 1 enemy, it only shows 1. It's just a memory limitation, not a big deal. My biggest beef with the game is the dungeons. This 3D scrolling was quite a sight to see back in the day. But there's nothing but walls and some doors. Without any scenery, there's no points of reference to clue you in on where you're at in the dungeon. There's no in-game maps either. Basically, it's easy to get lost and end up walking the same corridor over and over again. There are many dungeons in the game, and they all look alike except for some color changes. The enemies leave treasure chests after every battle, and it gets kinda tedious having to choose whether to open it or not. If you do open it, it sometimes explodes, and you often get worthless items. You then have to go to your inventory and remove them because you have limited space, and this game has a lot of items. The game did have a good pace to it as far as progression, but I did get stuck a couple of times. Without giving it away, I'll just say remember these 2 things if you plan on playing this game. The first thing is that talking to people will make items appear in parts of the game that you thought you were finished with. The second thing is, if somebody doesn't want to talk to you, keep trying to talk to them, and sometimes they'll all of a sudden start saying something else. All in all, I enjoyed Phantasy Star, but the dungeons kinda drove me nuts. Still, this is an essential piece of anyone's Sega Master System collection. To me, it wasn't a great game, but it did lay the foundation for a lot of other great games to come. This rating is a measurement of how fun it is to play this game today, compared to all other games. Basically, this game is more fun than most games out there. See the description for more details.